Welcome back to the True Factory family. Listen, it's time for us to interview Marcus. Marcus, of course, is the husband who cheated on Michelle. You just heard Michelle so eloquently, display her feelings and emotions for you guys. And now we're going to hear from Marcus. All right. So with no further ado, let's bring Marcus out. So listen, again, unfortunate that we made on these circumstances, right? But thank you. Thank you for being willing to come out here and tell your side of the story. Again, you already know there's going to be ridicule, and I really appreciate you being willing to come and speak out for yourself, right? Well, I want to start this off just by simply diving right into this crucial topic of infidelity. Michelle had a very high opinion of you. She seemed to be very broken whenever you cheated. She didn't expect it at all. Can you tell us sort of what led up to you cheating? Why did this happen?
Why did this happen? Well, Kevin, it's a hard truth to face. I was in a moment of weakness. I made a mistake, and it was a big, grave mistake on my part. With this act of infidelity, it was just a moment of weakness at that time.
Okay, so let's just say you're at the door. Lisa's knocking on the door, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking at that video. I'm like, okay, did you know that Michelle had already taken off, or?
Well, she had told me that she was leaving. I was shaving at the time or whatever. And yeah, but I had no idea that Lisa was going to show up, man. That
Absolutely.
was crazy. Yeah, I was totally thrown off.
What was you feeling? You see her at the door. You know Michelle can be back any moment. You know she only knows where you live because you've invited her there.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind? Like, maybe my whole spot about to be blew up, about to break this woman's heart, potentially, hurt my children, all this in the process, all of it, all those decisions, bad decisions that you've been making seeming to all close in on you.
It was a culmination of all those things, man. It was crazy. Like, I had a rush of those type of thoughts and emotions. I was like, man, what? Like, what is she doing here? You know what I'm saying? So I look, I'm like, oh, no, I know she's not out here like that. You know what I'm saying? And so, wow, bro. My thing was like, what you doing here? Get out. You know what I'm saying? But man, she was just, adamant about being there. And then it was crazy. I just wanted her to leave before my wife came home,
Absolutely. Wow. Okay, so when they're in the home arguing back and forth, right, and this whole thing is happening, there was something that you said. Now, of course, I'm polygamous. I have 2 wives, but I heard you say something like, "I'm polygamous," right? Can you explain to us why you use that term to explain the decisions you were making?
Well, at that point, man, I was just reaching for straws. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the best term to use at that particular time, but I was just trying to, justify a situation that was, very, very egregious on my part. Maybe you got 2 women fighting like your wife, you love her, you're in the living room, like it could go crazy. Michelle's beating on me, and then Lisa, I'm trying to get her out the door, and I get out the door, she comes back in, and then, it was crazy. So I'm like, I don't want this thing to escalate, and I'm trying to de-escalate, and I'm in the middle. Like it could go left like really, really fast, like it did. But thank God, you know what I'm saying, that it didn't, escalate into some violence.
Sure.
So I was just trying to think quick.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so when I said, let's be polygamy, it was a weak, reach to try to justify a situation that wasn't even right. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was a moment of desperation, pretty much.
So when I saw the video, I can admit to you, I was a little upset when you claimed polygamy, right? That's why I actually saw the video. People are sending it to me saying, is this what polygamy looks like? Because people are always judging mine and my wife's relationship. And I always say polygamy is about honesty. It's not about sneaking out and forming a relationship with another woman and then calling that polygamy, right? It has to be something that you build with the intent of building a polygamous union, right? Both wives have to know about each other, be willing to work with you and in your vision to manifest what you're trying to build. So that's why I asked that question. I know you said you're grasping at straws, but I do want to ask, deep down, is that a desire of yours? While you were manifesting this union, did it cross your mind before you were found out that I would like to be polygamous?
Well, I think that it has crossed a lot of people's minds, especially men, in that regard, especially, them knowing you and things like that. You are pretty much, the pioneer of it as well, or like an exemplary model for that type of marriage arrangement. So I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that it has not crossed my mind, but, I love my wife very much. You see what I'm saying? And the thing about it is, it's I can see how it could have possibly, made you feel a type of way or been disrespectful to, people who do practice polygyny, on a righteous type level and on a genuine level. So I can see how that would be, a little disconcerting to them. You know what I'm saying? But again, when I said it was a moment of desperation pretty much. But to answer your question, yeah, it has crossed my mind, but I haven't really given a lot of thought to it because, I was sound in my marriage, with Michelle. I mean, I love her a lot.
If you and Michelle recover your relationship, reconcile,
yeah,
do you believe this may turn up again, or do you believe you can be faithful to your wife, love her, honor her, build with her, and she don't have to worry about this again, or will this polygamy thing come up again?
No, it won't come up again. I mean, I actually, have come to the fact that, I have to face up to the mistake that I did. Like I said, it was a moment of weakness. There was some things that led up to it, but the whole polygynous talk, it won't come up again because what I value most is my family, like my wife, my son, my stepson, and things like that. So, we're all one. Big cohesive unit. I love my kids. I love my wife. And, I made a tremendous mistake. I mean, I don't know.
So I did ask Michelle a question, right?
Yeah.
How did it feel looking you in your eyes after the infidelity, knowing that you could lie to her face and then come right back home and lay in the bed with her, right? In hindsight, do you feel bad? And before you answer that question, let's look at the video that you made inside of your car, proclaiming your love for her and that you wanted her back, okay? Just a moment before you answer that question. Check that out.
Hey, it's me, Marcus. I suppose I got to get on here and speak about everything that happened. I really do love my wife, Michelle. I made some poor decisions. I made a mistake, and I gotta live with the consequences, And I've been looking at the comments. I've been reading them. Like one comment was talking about, if he was unhappy with Michelle, if I wasn't happy with her, why don't you just leave? Well, the thing is, I was very happy with Michelle. We had a great family. We're a great family. As a matter of fact, it's just, I messed up. I fucked up, okay? What you want me to say? Like, I got weak in a moment of weakness, couldn't keep my hands to myself, and I got seduced or whatnot. And, it's really no excuse. Another comment was like, well, why didn't I keep it real at least? Why didn't I tell I was married and shit like that or whatever? But, me and Lisa cool, you know what I'm saying? We go back, like, we spend a lot of time together, you know what I'm saying? But let's keep it a buck. Like, Lisa, she got like 4 kids from 4 different baby daddies. I mean, come on, man. We were just doing our thing, We were just kind of like wilding and whatnot. Maybe I should have kept it real with her about that and not lead her on and all this kind of stuff, Maybe I could have handled that better, but apparently I didn't. So, now that shit blew up in my face. And, and then too, women, y'all already know, like, when a man, just if a man sleeps with a woman, doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be the woman he's with. You know, she was just a fling kind of thing, you know? You know, other comments were like, I just seen a lot of comments, and, you know, I just really miss my family. I really love my wife. You know, I miss being home, because that's what really hurts the most, is not being home with my son and our child, Junior. But, you know, since then, I've had to move out since then, you know what I'm saying? Like, she kicked me out, and I can't blame her. She don't want me near her or my child. That's what really hurts. You know, now my finances is fucked up. Like, it's like, you know, I got to pay for the mortgage. Like, you know, she's still living in the house, but I'm out. You know what I mean? So for now, I got to check into a hotel, you know, and shit like that. I got all these different kind of finances, the mortgages, this and that. I got other things I got to pay for. Like, it's just crazy right now, man. It's crazy. And I can't believe the predicament that I got myself in, you know. It's crazy. Michelle. Michelle, baby. If you see this video, if you can find it in your heart to forgive me, I'll make everything right. I'm willing to work it out. I'm willing to do counseling. I'm willing to do anything to make our family. I want to rebuild. I made a mistake and I'm truly sorry, but I just want you to know that I love you. I love Junior. And I love my family. But, yeah. Let's go ahead and check into this hotel. That's all I really got to say, y'all. I miss my family.
Okay, so when I first saw that video, the first thing that came to my mind is he does seem apologetic. Mm-hmm. He does sound like he wants to change, but the problem is he covered it up for so long. And so typically when someone gets caught, now they want to talk about changing, but they were doing that and smiling in their partner's face until they got caught. And to me, that's my drawback is, does he really want to change, or is he just saying this because she found out, right? And honestly, when she showed up at your door, you want at least her to leave so Michelle did not find out. Did you decide, okay, it's a mistake after you saw how badly you hurt her? Or did you know it was a mistake the entire time?
Well, I mean, of course it was a mistake, you know, while doing it. You know what I'm saying? But it hits a little bit different when your hand's caught in a cookie jar.
Yeah. Seeing the pain in your wife's eyes and face.
Yeah. I mean, it really it hurts me, you know, to see her hurt like that. Most people out there, like in the comments and things like that, you know, you don't deserve her, you cheated it. Like, I really do love my wife. I mean, people don't understand that. Like, a man, I'm not justifying anything, but a man can totally sleep with a woman and not have any type of like real type emotions, you know, with her in terms of like long-term commitment and things like that, and still have his wife and be totally, you know, enamored with her and in love with her. You know, that's my situation. Like, I really love my wife. And so to see her in that type of pain and hurt, it hurt me. And it didn't just hurt me, it affects everybody in our household. And so, just like, I talked about in the car, I had to check into a hotel, finances all over the place, paying the hotel, paying for the
These
mortgage.
things you don't think about.
Like all these things, because, when you're in the heat of the moment and it's happening, it's like, okay, yeah, you're doing it. Mm-hmm. But
the consequences are far from your mind.
Yeah. Sometimes, you're into like whole instant gratification thing and you just don't, think ahead, so to speak.
Absolutely. I always say men have to be people of vision and don't get short-sighted. And that's typically what we are when we end up cheating and things like that, not seeing the consequences down the road, right?
Yeah.
I know you watched the video, watched Michelle talking from backstage, and you heard her saying how she saw you before all this happened, right? That you made her safe, that you was a great example to her children.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when I'm asking her about how she was alienating you from your child and children, it was because she felt like she didn't want you around them to set a bad example. Mm-hmm. So what I'm thinking when I'm saying that is, wow, he destroyed how she saw him, right? And typically for a woman to give her all, be feminine, be soft with you, she has to trust you, right?
Right.
So you did change how she saw you. Are you willing to try and work through that, rebuild your character, get counseling, work on your indeficiencies or underdevelopment as a man, to prove yourself to her, to show her that you are worthy of being her husband and a father to her children?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Kevin, I'm prepared to do anything that it takes. You know what I'm saying? A man's family is everything to him. That's all you got. I like the idea of being married. Like at the end of the day, I'm a family guy. I love being a husband. I love being a father to my son, and actually being a father to her son before my son. You know what I mean? I don't want to say it kind of gave me practice, but I love that idea of it. And then when she gave birth to my son, it made me love her even more. And both of our children, you know what I'm saying? So just to hear her say that, and how she felt, how she thought of me at the time, man, I'm telling you, Kevin, man, like I gotta earn that back.
Wow.
Because that's the epitome of a man. That's what a man's supposed to be like in the eyes of his wife. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
So yeah, I'm willing to do anything.
Amazing. So you guys see the smile on his brother's face when he's talking about his love for his family and all, right? This is what I want you guys to keep in the forefront of your mind. That love that you have with your children, that relationship that you have with your children, with your wife. This is what I want you to think about when you see that beautiful woman in front of you. That is not your wife, okay? Think with your head and don't lose yourself, because you can destroy everything that you've been working for. And I'm sure that he all too well understands that. Going from living in a beautiful home with his wife and children to now sleeping in hotel rooms and not even getting to see his children, right? There was also something that you said about, a man's ability to sleep around and without being actually emotionally connected. This is true, right? A lot of men say, well, I'm a man and that's why I cheat. I say that's not being accountable to the relationship that you're in. You should have integrity, right? And that's a poor excuse to cheat, because what will happen inevitably is you're going to break her heart. And she's not going to look over it because you're a man. Your children are not going to not be affected because you're a man. Cheating is cheating, right? And being a man and having the ability to sleep with someone without being emotionally connected is no excuse to cheat, because they're going to be hurt by it and the damage is going to happen regardless, right? And I see this everywhere. I'm sure you grew up like that. Men say, hey, I'm a man, right? And they're using that as the reason to, deal with multiple women while they're in a relationship, when the truth of the matter is you should be honest in your relationships. And a man should have integrity, far more than making all those excuses about the abilities a man has naturally, right?
Well, of course, I totally agree with what you're saying, because, integrity is a big part of a man's essential core of a man. You know what I'm saying? I do realize now that my infidelity not only affected my marriage with my partner, but it jeopardizes, my parenthood with my sons. You know what I mean? It's like now I'm in a separate household. I'm not under the same roof with my children, with my sons, and that's really hurtful.
Absolutely.
Because I don't want to, propagate the whole stigma of, oh, you're a deadbeat dad, or you know what I'm saying, or the father's not in the home, that type thing. You know what I mean? Like, there's enough of that, especially in our community. And like I've said before, like I really enjoy being married. I enjoy being a father to my children.
Absolutely.
And so I realize again, like I said, my infidelity really has jeopardized that. And, I'm willing to do anything that takes, counseling or whatever, to recover that and earn her trust, her respect, and to really get my integrity back as well.
Sounds good. I'm glad to hear that, actually.
Yeah.
So you of course can see how infidelity does not just affect your wife. Mm-hmm. It affects those children. It even can affect the mother-in-laws, the brother-in-laws, the whole family, right? It takes a village, right? So she said something to you that you didn't particularly like. She said that you cheating makes you not a good father too. And of course you said that means I'm a bad husband, a bad boyfriend. But that doesn't mean I'm a bad father. I have a great relationship with my sons, right? Mm-hmm. And what's your thinking on that now?
In one breath, she says one thing, in another breath, she says another. In one breath, hey, he was a great father, great husband, that I looked up to him, that kind of thing, right? Now, when a woman is hurt, sometimes they say things they don't actually mean. You know what I mean? So, and I say all this to say is that sometimes, Michelle could have, in her communication, she could be very forthcoming, especially when she's in an emotional state. She could be very forthcoming, come off really loud and aggressive. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
And, sometimes that tone can irk me a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And, I'm a pretty big guy. She's a smaller one. I don't want these domestic violence type situations. So a lot of times when she get into that kind of state, I just walk away. But at the same time, that puts me in a state of, I want some nurturing. Or, I'm seeking validation from another woman in terms of, going to a club or something like that. But it was just the emotional aspect of it. It wasn't the physicality that really sucked me in. It was that emotional thing, that softness, that feminine aspect that sometimes, my wife, Michelle, may not convey to me at the time that I need it.
Makes sense. Well, I definitely want to get into how she talks and things, how she talks to you, how she treats you during those times, what you need in nurturing from her, and at times she's not willing to give it and things of that nature. I definitely want to get into that, but I want to stay focused on these beautiful children that you want to get back to parenting, right? And I want to ask you this question, okay? Her saying you're not a good father because you cheated. Ask you a question, okay? Of course, you believe I can still be a good father even though I cheated. It's a mistake, but it don't make me a bad father. But think of this. You are supposed to set a good example for those children. You're supposed to protect them, and you're supposed to do all that you can to hold that household together. I would say that it's not a good father would not cheat on his wife. But I'll ask you this: would a good mother cheat on her husband? Would a good mother make her family more susceptible to every negative statistic because she couldn't keep her legs closed? I would say a good mother would be faithful to her children's father, and her cheating don't just make her a bad wife. It does make her a bad mother because she risked a relationship with their father for what? Right?
Well, with that context, I would have to agree with you.
Absolutely.
Despite the fact I still do believe and feel and know that I am a good father.
Based on the relationship with your children.
Yes.
Based on the decision to cheat, it has you on the outside looking into your own home. And You're still paying the mortgage on that home, ain't you? Yeah. And now you got to pay for hotels.
Yeah.
If y'all don't get back together now, you have to pay for your own living expenses at the same time, maintain the mortgage of the home that Michelle is in. And in hindsight, that's a horrible decision, right?
Yeah.
Because your inheritance that you're supposed to leave for those children is now going to be soaked into the shelter over your head, which is not really that necessary, which wouldn't have been necessary, right? Mm-hmm. But anyway, I want to get to how she talks with you, right? You said she's very abrasive to you.
Yeah.
I often say that a man is not going to be softer than his wife, right? When a man speaks to his wife, he has a filter, a certain way he speaks to her. But if she's brash and direct with him, he'll typically take that same approach, right? Mm. And your body will tell you when you're with someone who talks to you unfairly and treats you unfairly. Irritable bowel syndrome, brain fog, headaches, migraines. Mm-hmm. And typically the way a man gets past that is with a little nurturing. Mm-hmm. And if the wife is not willing to do that, he can find himself, unfortunately, in the arms of another woman. It's a horrible excuse and reason, but it's possible. And you can see how, not getting what you need from your wife can have you sitting, or in a club talking to the dancers about how you feel, or talking to another woman about how you feel, which could often lead to infidelity. And not giving you any excuses. I don't think that excuses should be given when a person cheats. I think a man should be 100% accountable to the decision that he made, right? Because if she's speaking to you in some way that you don't find appropriate, then y'all should seek counseling. And I asked her if you did talk to her about that, if you actually said, look, I don't like how you talk to me. It makes me feel undervalued. It makes me feel not appreciated, unloved. Did you have these conversations with Michelle?
Yes, I have. I've, communicated that to her several times.
What was her response to you?
Well, I don't think that she's aware of it. I think, again, like when she's in an emotional state, it's just a trigger.
She says to me that she grew up that way, and I'll tell you this. Typically when a girl says that to a man, hey, we grew up like this is how we talk, he will begin to change his demeanor with her and stop being so soft with her. Now he'll be more direct with her because he's like, she can handle it. Because typically when we mince our words, it's because she's very soft or sensitive and we don't want to hurt her feelings. So we take our time to explain certain things to us. But when she's very direct and she talks to us any kind of way, typically what we're going to talk to them the next time is going to be very, very direct. Not because we want to be mean, but because we think they can handle it now.
Right.
And typically they don't like to be talked to that way. This is where I get into, it's abuse, not physical abuse, but it's the misuse of a person, right? You have this man who's a capable man. He's much stronger than you. And you're going to him with demands. Why not go to him with a request, right? You get him to respond better, right? Talking to him like he's somebody instead of saying, you need to do this and you need to do that. Typically you'll get in your pride and who are you talking to, right? And she's not going to get the most out of you that way. And you wouldn't get the most out of her by going to her making demands, even though she's weaker than you. Right? And so how much more so are you going to put your foot down if she's trying to make the physical demands of you? Like, you need to do this.
Right.
It just doesn't work. And so counseling to have a healthy communication is much needed. I can see that in your relationship. But you did make a video where you said you wanted your wife back. Is that still the case?
Of course. More than everything.
Okay.
My wife and my family.
Okay. Well, I want to bring Michelle out here so you guys can talk together as a couple. I know you haven't spoken to her in a while. I did talk to her before you came out here. Of course, you saw what she seems like she might be willing to work on the relationship. What do you think? I'm just going to bring her out here and have her sit down while you're here already.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So listen, guys, we're going to bring Michelle out because we want to be able to get them together. Let's go ahead and do that.